Vice President JD Vance speaking with some guy named Jesse, sizing up the clown car competition he might face in 2028 while taking a big steamy dump on the Dems' midterm strategy. I didn't write that.
The dumbest candidate will probably win. That's my guess. With the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris is not qualified to be president of the United States. That's why she got the vice presidential nomination. Now, the flip side is I think you have a unbelievably corrupt and incompetent governor in Gavin Newsom. The fact that those are the two frontrunners just suggests how deeply deranged the Democrat Party is. Let them fight it out. We'll figure it out. They have nothing to actually run on or govern on. Their entire obsessive focus of that party is they hate Donald Trump.
JD offered up this take about Newsom's manhood-crushing sitting pose.
Have you seen this guy cross his legs? Have you ever seen anyone cross their legs like that?
My legs don't cross like that, Jesse. I'll leave. You can interpret that however you want to.
You know, I was watching the interview, and I felt bad for you, Jesse, because there's nothing harder on your ego than interviewing somebody like a decade younger than you who's way more successful than you are. So was it bothering you when you're going, this is a vice president, and I could be his dad?
Now that I think about it. So he's like, not a decade, 8 years younger than I am, and yeah, he's way beyond what I'll ever be. But it's funny being older than the vice president of the United States. But it's nice to sit and talk with him off camera because he's so chill,
right?
And he's just like one of the guys, and he's joking around and he's relaxed. And then you get on camera. And he's one of the most articulate politicians we have in this country. He's one of the sharpest, one of the most insightful, and one of the most confident. And if you see him on a debate stage with Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom, he's going to do the same thing that he did to Tampon Tim. Goodbye.
You know, Brian, Vance predicts the Democrats' dumbest candidate will be the nominee. So I guess that means it won't be you.
I'm too smart.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
no, you're not a Democrat.
You almost complimented.
I
think he might have. Yeah, it'll never happen.
Yeah,
again.
I was like going through this. I go, wait a minute, this is going to sound too
He might
good.
sound too nice. Yeah.
Do you think Gavin is really the front runner after? I mean, do you think it's possible given the state's condition?
And he's speaking tonight, and he's going to be the anti-Trump candidate. And I think it's crazy that he still thinks that that's the winning formula because he is a decent politician. Because going after Trump, he should be looking beyond Trump. But I don't want to give him advice. I think he's very good on his feet. He's a good-looking guy, looks the part, could be cast for the part in a series that you might get on one day on HBO, The President, written by Greg Gutfeld. I don't know if he'll star in it, but we'll see. Yeah. So I think that Gavin Newsom has a problem, and it's the back of his baseball card. And the back of his baseball card has the stats. And with homelessness, people leaving, a huge $300 million deficit, the illegals, and the fraud investigation that's coming California's way, that's going to blow the doors off anybody who thinks he could do the job and be competent. But right now, he's right. What I thought was so interesting is that he said, I would love to do it I would love to, Mondami impressed me because he talked about affordability, not woke. And I thought, where's this going? He goes, because I want to talk about affordability too. Where I'm going to win is if I tell you how I'll make country affordable. How can you do it? Their formula does not work. So he's hoping for a debate of substance, a fight about issues.
Thank you. Jessica, I want to ask you that hard-hitting question about his legs.
Yeah.
I know
My legs can go like that.
Do you notice that among men? The leg crossing?
I mean, look at that, Jessica.
Yeah, but I'm actually more offended by the man stance, like where they just sit with their legs. Like I'm doing it right now. I don't know if you can see it on the table. Like where they sit on the subway and they take up 2 seats with their legs, like Jesse's doing right now.
Yeah, the white
spreading.
Yeah, manspreading.
Yeah.
Manspreading and mansplaining I do not enjoy. And I don't think that Gavin's leg cross is what's going to be holding him back from
Why do you think he does it?
Precedence.
Why do you think he does it?
I think that's how he's comfortable, and I think you should let him be himself.
Yeah, all right. Could be
Engage with him on the ideas.
Disgusting.
You say, but Vance said, I want to talk about affordability. That is not going well for the administration. And I just wanted to note for some funsies, there was a new poll of 4,200
Here it comes, the poll.
JD Vance has a lower favorability than Andrew Tate amongst young men. So,
but Andrew Tate's really popular.
35%. And a very bad guy.
Yes. All right, Dana. close this out with some very sparkly analysis.
So I think that, like, I can look at it and say, okay, you look at the Minnesota fraud. There's like 10 to 15 Minnesota frauds in California. And like, so JD Vance, if he does run, he will have excellent opposition researchers. They're not the kind of people who are going to pick Tim Walz to be on the vice presidential ticket, right? So I think that Gavin Newsom will have to be prepared for things like that. But just remember, Gavin Newsom won a recall. People in California seem to not care.
Well, it's true because they can afford. The people you hear about most can afford not to. It's just like New York City. Like the people who vote in as socialists will stay because they can afford it.
Right. So he'll win California. He'll be able to raise a ton of money. I think that right now, because of his name ID, he is the contender. But there are other ones who are sizing up things. For example, the governor of Pennsylvania has a book coming out at the end of this month. That's usually the tell that something is coming in the next year.
And that would be Josh Shapiro. Right. Okay.
Well done.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.